George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. We've got some sisters on a mission in the Cuse today. So pleased to be joined by these entrepreneurs who are setting a new stage here in the Cuse. Speaking of the Cuse, we got Victoria Coit from Cuse Culture. That's what I'm trying to say, culture, right? Victoria Coit from Cuse Culture, also from Cuse Culture. Vanessa Campbell, also with V Renee Photography Solutions. We're also joined by Caeresa Richardson. She is the proprietor of Gypsy Freedom, and also Indaria Jones with the Creators Lounge. You know what? This is an all-star panel of young sisters making a difference in the community. Victoria and Vanessa, let me start with you. I'm gonna call y'all a deans because y'all been doing this Cuse Culture for a minute. But let me start with you, Victoria, about the creation of Cuse Culture and what was the vision for that and what you were trying to do with that. Of course, COVID has stopped all of that for a minute, but we'll get to that in a moment.
First of all, thank you very much for having us on your show. It's definitely a pleasure. Um, so, Cuse Culture. Cuse Culture was birthed out of basically a need at the time in Syracuse of us trying to put together what we wanted to see, the type of things that we want, events that we wanted to attend, also bring people together to break down silos and have them sort of build relationships that would build different things around Syracuse, whether it's an initiative or organization, and for people to really start to walk into their purpose.
Yeah, and so how did you connect with Victoria, Vanessa?
So Victoria and we've actually known each other probably since like high school through mutual friends. And then when I moved back to Syracuse back in 2011, she had moved back the year prior, and it was just destined to be. We just linked up, and out of that, somewhere Cuse Culture over a course of a couple of years came to be. Came to
And
fruition.
how would you describe what Cuse Culture is?
Oh my gosh, Cuse Culture is it's a lot of things, but I would say it's one of the biggest things I would say is it's an experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of what we do, especially with the events, we try to create an experience for people to come and feel like they belong, like there's this different culture in Syracuse, and yeah, and we try to promote um, unity within our differences. You know, we're trying to cheer each other on, cheer on the other entrepreneurs and such. So and promote them too.
And part of what you do, it's you've done a digital magazine, you do events, brunches, things of that nature. Really, Victoria, bringing people together in sort of a networking kind of a thing. Uh, we don't have enough of that, I would say.
I think that at the time we didn't have enough of that, and as relationships built, as people met each other, and as people started to believe in themselves more, in their power of what they can really make happen. Syracuse is a place where you can start from nowhere and really, build a platform for yourself. And so I think that now there are a lot of different initiatives, a lot of different things that you could tap into, like the Creators Lounge, like, well, I'm not going to name them all, but that's one of them. And so, wherever your soul is tied, you can really tap into something. So I'm very pleased to see that now.
All right, so Daria, she just segued. She called you out, so now I got to go to you now. So tell me about Creators Lounge and your idea for what that is. So what is Creators Lounge?
So the Creators Lounge is a co-working space for entrepreneurs and professionals. We offer a monthly membership plan that includes our office space, private offices, shared offices, and also our lounge areas. And then we also offer another digital membership, which includes access to our mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
And that connects executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals all across the US. We have members from all over the place. But most importantly, what people subscribe to when they become a member of our co-working space is our community. So we have a community like, like no other. We are the first and the only Black-owned co-working space here in Syracuse. And yeah, it's fun. It's not all work. We have a bunch of programming, focused on, career driven or business driven, or just, like everyday social gatherings, to network and connect with other people on different levels. So it's not all work. It's fun. It's a place where people can be all of who they are.
Where is it located?
We're at 2223 South Salina Street, so in Sankofa District.
Oh, in the Sankofa district. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's part of what's really nice is this renaissance on the south side, right? And do you feel like you're part of something that's getting ready to jump off?
Yeah, I mean, it's really great to see all of the development happening on the south side and to come, especially because we've been there for about 3 years now. So, I'm so excited for everything to come.
All right, so let's head downtown now to talk with Caeresa Richardson. Caeresa, how you doing? And you're the proprietor of Gypsy Freedom. So talk about your journey to opening up your own store and what Gypsy Freedom sells.
Yeah, so Gypsy Freedom is an elevated shopping experience. We have a brick and mortar boutique, our flagship in downtown Syracuse on South Salina Street. And then
Oh, it's not in Armory Square, so I messed up with that.
yeah, so there's sort of this renaissance going on of its own on South Salina Street, and I'm really happy to be a part of it, specifically as a Black woman.
Mhm.
I'm the only Black woman that owns a retail store down here, and I don't know any others actually. That one second, I should have did my do not disturb.
Go ahead.
Anyhow, so it was very important to me to sort of anchor my business in downtown Syracuse to provide an example for other young little Black girls like me that you can be anywhere in this city, owning property and doing whatever it is you want to do. So Gypsy Freedom is a sustainable fashion boutique. So all of my brands are ethically made, ethically produced. They are fair trade. They're using fair trade factories that pay their garment workers livable wages, which is different than minimum wage. And then they're using sustainable materials, and many of them are socially conscious and donating to charities as well.
Yeah, I love that. When I was hearing Victoria said of people having the power to do, you're kind of an example of that, like a living example of that. Is that how you see it?
Thank you. I am honored that you see it that way. I guess so. Yes. I think one of the things, like when I thought about opening Gypsy Freedom, I was very scared. I'm a engineer by degree. I had a very successful engineering career, and I'd been progressing throughout my career in leadership roles. And so it was very scary for me, and it almost for me felt ridiculous to say I was going to leave this career to go fold shirts all day. Right? Imagine your daughter coming home saying, hey, daddy, I love this 6-figure career, but I kind of want to like open a store. That's how crazy it felt to me, especially now during a pandemic. But, looking back, and now that you say that, there's power in our dreams. There's power in our ability to bring our dreams into fruition. And then there's power in the imagery around what we're doing. So like when I opened Gypsy Freedom, I had my daughter cut our red ribbon. Mm-hmm. It was important for me to like have that image just the imagery of that circulate everywhere, because, you know, forever, at least for us, you know, we will see a woman, a Black woman who owns a retail store in downtown Syracuse, and her little bitty Black daughter cut and open that ribbon, just breaking those glass ceilings, I hope, for many other little girls to come. So even if Gypsy Freedom doesn't last here forever, I genuinely hope that it's just given, you know, it's inspired others to open their businesses and see downtown as an area that other Black businesses can be successful in.
It's part of, as I hear you speaking, it's basically saying we can be wherever we want to be.
Wherever we want to be. That's
And,
exactly what the message I wanted to send. Everywhere.
how, Victoria, in terms of Cuse as a Cuse culture and the lifestyle that you're trying to promote, you know, so many people, you always hear, we don't have enough to do. We don't have this and this and that. And I know that through your efforts, you're really trying to change that paradigm. Just listening to all of you, I'm already encouraged and inspired, but trying to change the mindset of people who grew up here, like y'all came back, y'all live here, and trying to create a space where people feel that this is a community that's for them and has something to offer them, as they many people are looking to come back, or maybe they are thinking about leaving, not feeling like they can they can do the things that they want to do here. What do you say to that?
I would say that you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's about walking in your purpose, you know. Um, I don't think, I think Syracuse is a place where, and I say this all the time, like I said before, you can get anything done, number one, but number two, it's a comfortable enough place financially where you can sort of give yourself that room to fall if there's a net if need be, put it like that. But I don't think that people necessarily always come here because they want to come back, you know, or come to. There's a bit of an inner calling that is associated with that, whether we realize it or not, to get some work done. And it's either we answer the call or we don't answer the call. But at the same time, we have to, I feel like when I look at it from a spiritual standpoint of why I'm still here and why I came back, it would encompass all of that, you know. If I'm being honest, I didn't always want to be here, you know, but in knowing that, I said, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to figure some things out, and I'm going to do something that makes an impact. Did I always know what I was doing? Not at all. You know, I fumbled my way. We all fumble our way through. But at the end of the day, action is really what takes you on a journey to your next level. And as long as you don't act, you'll stay on the same level. So I just believe in action. So if you're here, and whether you want to or you don't, you do have to act.
It sounds like, Vanessa, it's sort of like bloom where you're planted. A friend of mine once said that to me. Bloom where you're planted. Make what you want to, make the thing that you want to happen where you are, and you can take that wherever you go. Something to that effect, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because what Victoria said is so true. Excuse me. So for me, Syracuse was not in my plans to come back.
That's a theme, right?
Right. Wasn't in my plans to come back, and I was only supposed to be here for a summer, for an internship, which turned into this career. And it just so happened that in doing that, a passion of mine has always been photography. I actually wanted to go to school for photography, but didn't. And while I was here and linking up with Victoria, that then became a possibility. And all of a sudden, I was able to, you know, act and dive into my dream and take action that I probably wouldn't have been able to take had I still been, I was living in a larger city at the time. You know, I wouldn't have been able to make the impact that I made and have this experience and be able to share that with so many of folks in the community. So yeah, bloom where you're planted.
Where'd you come from? Where did you move back from?
I moved back from Boston.
From
So I had
Boston.
lived in Boston for 5 years. I graduated from undergrad and left immediately.
Boston, and it's funny because Boston is one of those places where a lot of it was like one of the number one destinations for people from Syracuse for some reason. Atlanta, Charlotte, yeah, we got those too. But Victoria, where did you move back from?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, oh, Chocolate City. Now, Caeresa,
Yes.
you lived here. You came here to go. What's your Syracuse story?
Yeah, so I'm actually from downtown Buffalo,
Okay.
city girl, and I went to SU, Syracuse University, my husband and I. And after I graduated, I moved around everywhere, the country for my job, working. And my husband stayed here. He was planted here. And when he proposed to me, I moved back here and married him, and we've been here ever since. And I actually really love Syracuse. Like, it would take a lot for me to for someone to convince me to leave the city, unless it's like I'm near a beach somewhere, you know. But I really love Syracuse. I agree with the ladies and what you're saying about bloom where you're planted, but I would even take it as, I don't see Syracuse as this place that I have to make the best of it. You know what I mean? It's incredible. It really, really is. And I do feel this like new sense of energy here. Syracuse is a very transient place. There's a lot of people moving in and out of it all the time. So it makes it a great place to experiment. So you'll see a lot of new business ideas open up here, even like what I'm doing with sustainable fashion. Like, there's no sustainable fashion boutiques in the whole of upstate New York. And we have one here in Syracuse, you know, so it's very like what Indaria is doing with, you know, being the first Black owned co-working space. Like, it's here in Syracuse. So it's a great, great city to experiment and to lay roots down with your idea, and then propagate it out everywhere else.
And so, Indaria, are you a hometown girl or sister or lady or woman? And what's your story around Syracuse?
Yeah, I'm definitely from Syracuse, born and raised. So, I grew up in a bunch of neighborhoods around Syracuse. I grew up at the Southwest Center. I call myself a Southwest baby. And even Shiner Street Boys and Girls Club. I went there. I went to a bunch of centers. But yeah, after college, I left for a while, for a summer, and not even left because I was driving back and forth from New York City to Syracuse. But I decided not to stay in New York City. I wanted to come back home, and I wanted to open up a co-working space, you know, for the community that I sort of was cultivating as I was in New York City. You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, new spaces or, you know, talent on the rise or entrepreneurs on the rise or Black people on the rise. And what I wanted to do with the lounge is sort of like highlight Black people and Black creatives, Black professionals and entrepreneurs who've been here, you know, who are from here, who are gifted in their own way. And they sort of didn't have an outlet or a space to kind of make things happen, you know, to work or sort of like connect with each other. So yeah, I love Syracuse. I'm from here. A lot of people, you know, in the city know me from myself, but mostly like my parents. I can't go anywhere without someone saying
Well,
like, oh, you Chanel daughter.
love it, love it, love it. And so explain to people what co-working space is if people aren't familiar with that.
So co-working space is office space. You know, if you're tired of working at home and you want a separate office from home or remote work from your office at work, or you want a creative space to be around, you know, like-minded people where you can bounce off ideas from each other while you're working on a project. That's sort of what a co-working space is. But what separates ours from the others, because we have that community to ours. So we're not just people who come in and rent an office and, don't talk to anyone or be outside of their day. We're really like community, so a lot of people, there, they support each other, they network with each other. Like Victoria said, with Cuse Culture, you see all of these other relationships develop and form off of, something that you kind of like put together, which is very beautiful. And we do a lot of programming too, a lot of fun events. We travel. So every year we take our community out the country. So we've been to Jamaica, Mexico, and DR. So we're all about exposure too, and also cultivating relationships in different ways. So, a lot of times, every time we go out of town, we probably took about between 36 and 42 people every year. And these are people that live in Syracuse and never connected or never saw each other. And now we're out the country and we come back family. And so that translates into the work we do, whether it's for our business or for our careers. And it's important.
I love it. And so obviously COVID has affected a lot of what we do. But let me say this, and I'm sure we've got a couple of minutes left here. Let me ask you each to talk about the importance of the Black women in business and what that means for you. And I think, Caeresa, you talked about this a little bit about how you wanted your daughter to cut your ribbon. So let me ask each of you to wrap up with your vision as a Black woman entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, and what that means for this community. Caeresa, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to start. I think what it means for me is just demonstrating that, one, like you said, the power of what, the power that we have to bring our dreams into fruition and to do it ourselves, and then also just like I said, the imagery and the message that I continue to always want to send is, you can do whatever it is that you want. There's a method to it, the putting the plan together and the connections and all of that stuff. There's the work that comes with it. But I really, I think as Black women business owners, I think the message that we send is, you can do whatever it is that you want. And that's the message I always want to send my daughter, whether it's being an engineer, an astronaut, a artist, whatever it is she wants to do, a business owner. I want to provide the example that she can do it.
And you can't fail because your history says you can't. You're part of that as well.
Yeah.
A shout out to Gwen Weber McLeod and all of that. Victoria?
I would say that the message that it sends to just the whole community in the city is that, as a doing business as a Black woman, I think that initially my actions and the way that I did things were like almost like the professional status quo. You had to look a certain way, you had to act a certain way. If you said you were an entrepreneur, if you said you were a professional. And me moving away to DC and coming back really gave me the confidence that you can be a little swaggy with it. You can put your own, as Beyonce and Indaria say, hot sauce on what you do, and still be effective. Still be who you are. And that's the largest thing in Syracuse, because everything that I had saw previously was very, contemporary, I guess you would say. And so infusing our own personality inside of what we do and being confident in that is what I really appreciate as being a Black woman and an entrepreneur here.
All right, Vanessa, thank you.
Um, I think what it means for me and the community is just, I've said this before, all things are possible, and we just have to do it. And you know, it is scary to go out and show your personality to the world. Um, some people are gonna love it. Some people, it might not be their flavor, but you know, those people who you're supposed to connect with and inspire, you'll reach them in walking in your true self. And that's been my goal. And that's what it means for me and for the community, that, you know, it's all possible. We all can do it. We have the power. Just get out there and
Just
make your
get out.
dreams happen.
And Daria, you got the last word.
Okay. So I would say, you know, what it means to be a Black woman in this community as an entrepreneur. It just, you know, everything that a Black woman is. So Black women, we lead, we nurture, you know, we vote. And I think, you know, it's important for us to, you know, model those characteristics of who we are, like you said, historically, in our everyday lives as businesswomen and as professionals, you know, because we sort of like shape, you know, the rest of the world, and especially Syracuse, our city. So yeah, that's what I would say, aside from all the good things everyone else already said.
Well, this is I'm really excited. I'm energized, and I'm so proud of all of you. And one thing a Black woman also is vice president. Holla about that,
Hey.
right? But really, I'm really excited. I wanted to, you know, feature all of you because I wanted our community to see and know that all things are possible if you believe in yourself. As you all said, walk in your purpose. Victoria talking about it's inside of you. It's kind of a spiritual thing. Trust you who you are. Trust what walk in that walk in your gifting. I'm also hearing you all say. And I really appreciate and really excited for all of what you are all doing in this community. Gypsy Freedom, they were on South Salina Street. Check them out. CuseCulture.com. Of course, Viva Renee Photography Solutions and Indaria Jones with the Creators Lounge. So let me go back through Victoria Coit, Vanessa Campbell, Caeresa Richardson, and Indaria Jones. Black women on the move. Powerful Black sisters. Powerful women doing what they do, making a difference in the community. And what I love about what each of you have said is people tend to downplay their own town. And so thank you, Sarissa, for telling us how much you love the Cuse, right? Because we need to say that a lot more as well. So with all of that, I thank you all for being an inspiration for the nation. Don't make this the last time. Whatever we can do to help to bring the positive light in the community, you know, we're here to do it. Appreciate all of y'all. Inspiration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. And I hope your Thanksgiving by Black Friday and your Small Business Saturday went well. Inspiration for the nation.